Hello there, and welcome to Talking Nerdy, the show where we take various story arcs and events from current comics and we cover them. I'm your host, Obi-Wan Jabroni. Now, today's story, we will be covering X-Men Legends number 5 through 9. Now, our first story sends us back to 1992 in between X-Factor number 75 and 76. After the original members rejoin the X-Men, government liaison Val Cooper assembles a new team of mutants to comprise a new X-Factor. But just because mutants and humans are working together doesn't mean the government still trusts them. Now, in our second story, it takes us back to 1990, sometime after Wolverine number 33, when two young mutants disappear. Wolverine and Jubilee set off for Japan to track them down, but Lady Deathstrike and the Hand have plans of their own for the duo. So, with that, let's start talking nerdy. First up, we have X-Men Legends number 5, written by Peter David, with art by Todd Nanook, and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. Now, we open on Capitol Hill, and Val Cooper is sitting at a hearing, and she says, "I'm going to just go onto the records as saying I think this is a waste of time. X-Factor has already submitted its report as to the events that transpired at the Latvian embassy. This is nothing more than a publicity stunt. It's part of this government's continued efforts to vilify mutants. If the Avengers had handled this, you'd be awarding them medals. But it was mutants, so naturally suspicion rules." The judge tells her she has questions to answer and asks what happened on December 24th at the Latvian embassy. She tells them that a group called the Four Witches of Sabbath attacked the embassy. And we switch to December 24th at the Latvian embassy itself. The witches charge through the doors of the embassy and they start to fry everyone they see. They take the guards and employees out with ease and secure the doors to the outside. Meanwhile, at X-Factor headquarters, Val has called the team together, and she shows them a video that the Four Witches had put out once they had took control of the embassy. "Our goal is simple, to transform Latveria. We're calling upon the United States to join us, oust Victor Von Doom from power, and change our country into a democracy. If you refuse, then we will take severe steps, starting by killing everyone in this embassy. You have 24 hours to meet our demands, or these people start dying." And we switch back to Capitol Hill in present day. Havoc explains that the UN stopped X-Factor from acting since it was an international issue, and they went to the Avengers instead. But the Avengers said that since Doctor Doom was involved, that the Fantastic Four was needed, so they sent them over there. Now, the Fantastic Four learned that the Four Witches were mutants, and they decided to send them to X-Factor to best take care of this problem. Typical government ring around, it seems. Now, back on December 24th, Strong Guy and Multiple Man charge at the embassy alone, and Multiple Man makes an army of dupes, and Strong Guy dives through a window. The witch Samhain unleashes a full blast of green fire on him, and he tells Multiple Man to get back. Strong Guy takes the full blast, and when it ends, he is standing charred and with burnt clothes in the middle of the blast. He smashes the ground and causes the whole room to collapse in on them. Havoc and Polaris arrive and ask what happened. Strong Guy tells them that he absorbed some kind of mystic fire, and Havoc asks why they attacked alone. Multiple Man laughs and says they were just running a distraction. Now, elsewhere inside the embassy, we see Wolfsbane sneaking around and listening in on the witches when the ghost of Reverend Craig, who's the first man Wolfbane killed when her mutant powers kicked in, he appears behind her and screams, "Mutant monster!" Wolfsbane freaks out and reverts to her human form and curls into a ball. The four witches walk out of the room laughing, and Sam Hain says, "My friends, we've just been handed a new tool against X Factor. If they attack us again, one of their own will be the next fatality." And that ends this issue. Leading us to X-Men Legends number 6. Now, we open on December 24th at the Latvarian embassy. X-Factor is standing outside of the embassy, and the witches yell at them from a balcony. They look up and see Wolfsbane tied to a wooden X. Havoc puts his hands up and steps forward, introducing himself, and Sam Hain fires at his feet. Havoc continues to walk forward and says, "Okay, people, you've got our attention. My name is Alex Summers. I'm also known as Havoc. I'm the leader of a group of mutants called X Factor. I want to talk with you. I could return fire, and in doing so, bring the place down around your ears. Kill you and everyone in there with you. I'd rather not, because that'd be a ton of paperwork." And they ask how they know that the cops won't shoot if they open the door, and Havoc says they won't. They agree, and they open the doors, and a cop fires at them anyway. Havoc gets pissed and yells as he turns and blasts the cop car. The cops pull back, and the four witches to agree to let Havoc anyway after his display against the cops. Havoc, Havoc asks who they are and why they were attacking the embassy. And we learn that Doctor Doom used to be with the witches years ago, and that they was all born with a recessive mutant gene until Doctor Doom experimented on them and activated the gene and then abandoned them. So, meanwhile, outside, Polaris goes to the balcony and tries to save Wolfsbane. The witch guard in her makes a ghost of Polaris' dead mother, and Polaris starts to panic. When Wolfsbane screams out, "Not again," and transforms into her wolf form, breaking free of the ropes, she dives onto the witch and starts to maul and rip at her whole body. And Polaris pulls Wolfbane off of her and tells her that it's enough. Back inside, there's a crash, and Sam Hain asks what it was. Havoc smiles and says, "Oh, that's just my team freeing Wolfbane." Wolfsbane comes crashing through the ceiling and attacks the three remaining witches. Havoc unleashes a blast at them as well, and they turn and start to run. They get away and make it to the bottom of the stairs, only to come face to face with Doctor Doom and Quicksilver. Doom blasts all of them, and teleports them out. Now, back at Capitol Hill, Val wraps up her story, and the judge asks what about Doom and about the woman witch that was found on the roof. And Val says, "The witch is still in a hospital under guard, and we saved the people in the building. That was our job. Doom, though, he's a supervillain. At some point, he'll be brought down. They always are, by their own actions, or by the Fantastic Four or some super team. That's how this usually works." And that ends this issue. Taking us to X-Men Legends number 7. Written by Larry Hama, with art by Billy Tan, and colors by Chris Sotomayor. Open in Asuka, Japan. Wolverine and Jubilee walk into a restaurant, and the patrons turn and tell them to leave, calling them filthy godjins. Wolverine shoves Jubilee forward and says he brought them a genuine mutant. One of the men walks up and tells her to show them what she got. Show them, and she lets off a few pitiful sparks of her power. The man laughs and walks to Wolverine and puts his arm around him, saying, "That's all she can do. Last week we brokered a girl who could burn through steel plate. The clan that took over Daikumo's old turf is looking for special ones, no matter what level of power they have. But why should we share our commission with some smelly Gaijin?" And he stabs Wolverine in the chest, just as Wolverine's claws burst from the man's own chest. Jubilee blasts the two men guarding her, and a cook comes running out of the kitchen with a knife. Before either of them can do anything, a knife comes flying through the air and knocks the cook to in the air and pins the cook to the wall. They turn to see Yukio, who says the police are on their way. Let's get out of here before things get awkward. Now, we switch to later at a ramen stand, and the three of them sit and eat some ramen, and Wolverine asks why Yukio is here. Yukio says, I was hired by an orphanage to locate these sisters who were abducted. Their parents died in a house fire when the girls were toddlers. The orphanage director thought Hino-chan was a pyromaniac and kept her locked up, but she melted the lock. They think she got hold of a blowtorch, but you and I know better. I suspect she has congenial angelia, and probably impervious to psychic pain as well. They thought Yuri was some sort of child prodigy escape artist since locked rooms could not contain her. The truth is, she can put her molecules out of phase and pass through solid objects. She teleports too, and can phase and teleport anything she touches. Yuri is hypersensitive to pain, both physical and psychic. And Wolverine says that Professor X sent them here to check on reports of mutant children being abducted, and that he has a lead on it with the new crime boss for the Yakuza. And we switched again to later that night in a warehouse. Wolverine, Yukio, and Jubilee have a man tied to a chair, and Yukio is asking him where the kids are. The prisoner starts to refuse, but eventually gives in and says, I was an underboss in the Daikumo's organization before I started my own clan. We Yakuza have a system of honor. I will not betray that honor, no matter how you torture me. Wolverine pops his claws and asks him again where the kids are. Later that night at an aquarium, we see the leader of the Han, Gigi, standing with a mysterious robed woman, saying, You have done well, my little snow maiden. I am almost inclined to forgive you for allowing the Wraith child to escape. Our buyer is very disappointed, but still anxious for delivery of this fire child. So you will oversee the delivery and make certain that the buyer is satisfied. And two guards walk in, escorting a blindfolded girl, and they put her in a live fish storage crate and seal her up. Wolverine and Jubilee and Yukio come busting through the door, and the robed woman throws off her robes to reveal that it is Lady Deathstrike. She lunges at Wolverine while Jubilee and Yukio work on the guards. Deathstrike stabs Wolverine in the chest and tosses her and he grabs her and tosses her at the hand leader's feet. The leader calls her an amateur and snaps her fingers. Hundreds of hand mutants come from the shadows and swarm Wolverine. The leader tells Deathstrike to go with the delivery and to protect it. And Deathstrike takes off towards the delivery, with Yukio and Jubilee chasing after her, trying to stop her. She knocks Yukio to the side and grabs Jubilee, saying, I have my orders from Elder Sister, and I will not permit low-born interlopers to interfere. Not a single spark from you, child, or I will rip your throat out. Your powers are not as impressive as Yuri's, but you might still be of interest to our buyer. And Wolverine yells out for Jubilee and stabs a nearby shark tank's glass, causing it to shatter and pour out thousands of gallons of water and sharks into the room. He takes out the remaining ninjas and runs outside after Deathstrike. He reaches the shore and sees them riding off in a boat. A voice behind him says that I can take you to her. Just take my hand. And he turns to see a little girl. He takes her hand and they both teleport away. Yukio comes out to see them disappear when she is stabbed in the shoulder by the hand's leader. And as Yukio falls, the leader says, It appears I will have to go to Shanghai as well to fix this. And that ends this issue. Leading us to X-Men Legends number 8. Now, we open on Shanghai docks. Wolverine and the girl appear on the docks, and she tells him they slipped through time as well as space, and the boat will arrive here in about 20 minutes. A group of triad thugs swarm and attack them, and Wolverine starts to fight them off. The girl grabs one and teleports him to a tiger enclosure at a zoo, and ports back to find Wolverine taking care of the last thug. Later, the hand boat arrives, and we learn that Jubilee and the girl are in a shipping container that is being lowered to the dock in front of the leader and Lady Deathstrike. When a truck pulls in and says that he has the Russian packed away for her, Lady Deathstrike opens the container and finds that Jubilee has escaped. All of a sudden, Wolverine and the girl appear in front of them, and Jubilee comes running to join them. Lady Deathstrike lunges at them, and her and Wolverine start to fight as the girl runs into the container and tries to free her sister. The leader tells the thug to get the forklift and get the crate off the truck. Hand ninjas start to surround Jubilee as her and Wolverine are forced to go back to back. They switch targets, and Wolverine starts to take out ninjas while Jubilee runs at Lady Deathstrike and slides between her legs, blasting her with fireworks as she passes under, blinding her. Wolverine takes advantage and slices Deathstrike across her face. When out of nowhere, tentacles grab Wolverine, and Omega Red appears and starts to pound on him as he injects his death spores. Jubilee tries to free him, but is easily knocked to the side when a plasma blast hits Omega Red in the back, knocking him over and freeing Wolverine. And we see Birdie and Sabretooth enter the room. Sabretooth stops the hand leader from escaping with the girls and approaches Birdie and Wolverine, saying, "Nice shot, Birdie. Just be ready to zap the hairy Canuck and his girlfriend if they decide to get rambunctious, while I take possession of the little darlings in the back of the truck." And that ends this issue. Taking us to our final issue, X-Men Legends number 9. Now, we open on a jet above the East China Sea, and we see Birdie's flying the plane, and Jubilee is in the back with an unconscious Wolverine and Sabretooth. Jubilee yells that they are waking up, and they both freak out, asking what happened and why they are on this plane together. Jubilee tells them both to calm down, and we learn that the hand leader blasted them with a special gun and escaped. And Birdie used her powers to keep them knocked out for a little while. Birdie says that none of them want the Russians or the Hand to have the girls, so they all need to stop fighting and work together for this, temporarily at least. Now, elsewhere on the Hand's boat, a helicopter approaches, and Omega Red jumps out pissed that the Hand backed out of their deal. He causes the helicopter to crash into the boat and bust through a wall into the cabin. Lady Deathstrike charges at him, and they start to fight, when out of nowhere, Wolverine and Sabretooth join in. Sabretooth grabs him from behind, and Wolverine slashes his chest, allowing Lady Deathstrike to escape his tentacles. When a nearby wall blows out and the two little girls step through fire, free of their bonds. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. Free of their bonds. One of them blasts Lady Deathstrike with a fire blast, and Deathstrike takes it and is able to escape through a nearby door. Meanwhile, the other girl grabs Omega Red's foot and teleports him far away. The first girl turns to Sabretooth and Wolverine and starts to charge her blast, when her sister reappears and says, "It's okay, Hino-chan. I don't think we have to worry about these other two. I mean, I know that one of you means us no good, and the other one wants to help us, but we just want to be left alone. So I'm taking my sister far away, to a place none of you can reach us in the future." And they teleport out. And we switch to later that day. We see Birdie and Sabretooth fly away in a plane, leaving Jubilee and Wolverine behind. And Wolverine hails a taxi and says, "Hate letting Creed go like that, but we'll meet again when I've got some fight in me. Sooner I'd like. I'll bet. If we catch the next flight to the States from Gimhain, we can be back in Westchester tomorrow night. The Hand doesn't forgive failure, darling. They're looking at worse They're looking at worse than I'm prepared to dish out right now, so let's get out of here. We'll tell Xavier that the kids are safe for now, and there's always tomorrow. And that ends today's story. I hope you all enjoyed this week's video. Join us next week as we cover High Republic number 9 through 12. Thanks for watching. As always, remember to like, subscribe, and share our video to help spread our brand to the world. Also, leave a comment down below. Feedback is always welcome. Now, you can also find us on Facebook at Jabroni Nerd Network. So, with that, until next week, guys, keep talking nerdy.